some of you are adrenaline junkies like myself, listen closely to what I have to say because this might help you get your next picture. If not, listen closely. Imagine that you're camping. You wake up in the morning, look outside your tent, and see the most spectacular view ever. And then you realize that you're suspended 700 feet above the sheer hillside. Now, I thought it might be frightening to some of you, but you don't know unless you try it. About 9 years ago, I was introduced to the sport of rock climbing. After doing it for about 2 years, gaining some experience, I decided to venture out, try a few more advanced types of climbing. With more advanced climbing, require more advanced gear, and it ain't cheap. I ended up purchasing about $3,500 worth of climbing gear, and today I have about $5,000 in climbing gear, and it's worth everything. During the next few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about 7 different types of rock climbing and the different types of equipment that's used in each type. We're going to start with 2 of the most simple forms of rock climbing, which require hardly any gear at all. And we're going to finish by talking about 2 of the most extreme types of climbing, which require you to pack for days, possibly weeks. Now, if you think you would like to possibly try rock climbing, these first 2 types of climbing require hardly any gear, and this is what they are. Bouldering and free soloing. Bouldering and free soloing don't require you to have a harness or rope. It's just you, a few pieces of equipment, and a rock. Now, these pieces of equipment that you're going to need for these 2 types of climbing are going to be a pair of rock climbing shoes, a chalk bag, and a crash pad. Now, the crash pad is only needed for one of them, and I'll let you know which one that is right now. Bouldering basically is you trying to get from the ground to the top of the boulder. Bouldering is trying to get from the ground to the top of the boulder with no climbing aid whatsoever. Just your shoes and a chalk bag. Now, free soloing is the exact opposite. You're trying to climb about 200-300 feet. You have no rope, no harness. Pretty much requires a death wish, maybe some guardian angels. Really famous free soloer was Dan Osmond. He's deceased right now. Some of you probably guess why. If you like the idea of a safety line or a rope for safety, these next 2 are going to be more for you. These next 2 types of climbing, they're both top rope climbing. There's 2 types, both indoor and outdoor. Some of the equipment required for top rope climbing, additional equipment on top of what you just saw, are going to be a harness, a rope, some blade equipment, and a helmet. Now, going on to the 2 types of blade, 2 types of top rope climbing. Indoor top roping is more controlled. It's a more controlled environment. You go in, you can rent gear from the actual location. You have a padded floor, most likely made out of rubber or some kind of cushion material. And the routes are basically different colored rocks. You follow those routes, and it makes different difficulties of climbs. Outdoor climbing is not a controlled environment. There's a little more risk involved, and you need to have your own equipment. With both of these types, the highest you're going to climb is going to be about 35 meters, because a rope length is 70 meters. And when you belay and you top rope, the rope has to go from the climber all the way up to the anchor point and back down to the belayer. Now, once you're completely comfortable with top roping, you can move on to the next advanced type of climbing, which is called lead climbing. Lead climbing is basically called lead climbing because you're leading the rope. You're leading the rope and you're leading your partner. What you're doing is you're climbing up a rock, attaching your rope to anchor points as you climb. Now, some of the additional equipment you're going to need for that is pictured right here. All right, this equipment is going to cost, about $1,000, give or take a few. All right, you're going to need extra D-rings, all right, slings. Might need an extra rope depending on how tall the climb is. And you're going to need protection. I'm not talking about condoms. I'm talking about cans, nuts, hexes, all kinds of equipment that you're going to need to do this climb. Now, these climbs can be multi-pitch, which means multiple rope lengths in height, which is widely more than one rope. Sport climbing, they're basically, it's broken down into two different types of climbing, sport and traditional. Now, sport climbing is basically following a bolted route. The bolts are permanently in the rock, and you're following the bolted route, clipping in to the anchor to climb. Traditional climbing, on the other hand, is where you have more equipment. You carry what's called a raft, and it's basically a sling with all kinds of gear, all kinds of protection. Like we just showed the last picture, cams and nuts and X's, all those. And you place those as you climb, and then you put your rope in. Now these last two are the most extreme type of climbing there are. They're not for the faint of heart or the faint of bankroll. Right. Big wall climbing and mountaineering, basically you climb for days and weeks. You have to pack lots of gear, and the equipment can cost thousands of dollars. No joke. Right? Some of the equipment that's necessary is, layers of clothing for the weather. You might need sleeping equipment, food, water, something to cook the food. Right? You might need ice climbing material, equipment for mountaineering. And also a pack, a haul bag, something to carry your gear. You're going to need that. Most times when you big wall climb and mountaineer, you're with 2, 3, maybe 4 different people, and you guys climb as a team. Right? Climbing is used because the climb is so long that you're going to get tired. You're going to have to stop and sleep on the side of the cliff. You can see in the picture. Okay. And once again, it's a ton of equipment. Right? Mountaineering is a little more of a risk. You're going to have additional risks such as frostbite, loss of oxygen. You can be so high up there that it's going to be really risky. And you're moving more horizontally than you are vertically. So carrying your gear might be a little easier than pulling it up the side of the cliff. Now, though some of these types of climbing are expensive to actually participate in, they're all really fun and exciting. Right? In conclusion, now you have a better idea of a few types of rock climbing and the equipment that's used. Right? I hope I've sparked the interest of all of you, and you go out and venture and try this sport. And remember, no matter what your budget, there's a type of rock climbing for each and every